Hello, this is video 2 of 8 entitled From Pioneer to Rugby to Muddy Pond, recorded 8/31/2019. We're on Highway 63. We just came through Huntsville. That's the birthplace of Senator Howard Baker. As I started this video, I thought, when I started video 1, I made the statement that I would remind you when we went through Huntsville, which I did not. By doing these videos 60 frames per second, I tell you what you can do. As you watch the video, if you see a little community or a non-incorporated sign or anything like that, if you stop the video using the 60 frames per second, you'll be able to read those signs. So if there's a little community that we go through on this road or on some of the other roads, and you see a sign, you can read that sign by stopping the video, because the 60 frames per second will make it possible to do that. And when you're on a 2-lane highway, an automobile coming toward you, if you stop the video at a certain point, just as it goes by you, if they don't have tinted windows in their automobile, you could recognize who the driver was. So if I miss something, which I'm sure that I will, just stop the video and read the signs. We're getting ready to leave Highway 63, and we'll be getting on Highway 27. '27 is a major highway that goes up into Kentucky. The portion that I know of in Kentucky. I think 27 goes all the way down in through Georgia. Highway 27 is where they have that long yard sale. I think it's Highway 27. It could be 127, but you all that follow stuff like that know. And I'm just jabbering to fill in some time on my videos. I'm watching the playback with you. I'm watching the playback on a 27-inch Acer LED screen. Before, when I did these, I would pull them up into the editor, and up in the right-hand corner was a small screen, which was difficult to see. And then I thought, well, I don't need to do everything with the editor. I can go ahead and do the audio and then pull them together into the editor, and then that way I can get a better view of where we're at. Because when I watch the playback, I see a lot of things that I didn't see when I came down through here doing the video. I'm trying to keep an audio going without repeating myself, but it's almost impossible. We're in the Big South Fork area. You'll probably see, I think I saw quite a few all-terrain vehicles in the area. I know this area in and around Huntsville, Oneida, down Pioneer, down Stinking Creek Road and places like that are big for all-terrain vehicles. I've been down 27. I had forgotten about this underpass. I don't know I think that's a road rather than a railroad. But you can see there's not a lot of structures in this area. There's a lot of wilderness in this area. That's why Big South Fork is such a magnet for people who like to come down and spend some time in the mountains. They have quite a few campgrounds. I've never been there. I don't own a camper. That's one of the things that Pat and we haven't pursued, although I think it'd be a lot of fun. I have some friends who have campers, and they really enjoy it. We continue on 63, going south. See, I'm all confused. Not 63, 27. I'm trying to keep up. So this is Highway 27, not 63. There's a deer crossing. You can imagine how difficult it is to have things to say on these playbacks, especially when you're more or less in the wilderness. We'll turn right off of 27 and get on Highway 52. I think it's 52. We'll know when I get down here. But 52 goes to Rugby, and 52 has bypassed Rugby. To go into Rugby now, 52 used to go through Rugby, and it still does. But 52 bypasses Rugby also, and there's two exits off of the new 52 that goes into Rugby. And I wanted to do a video of a bed and breakfast in this area. So what we did is we went into Rugby from the second entrance off of Highway 52. Looks like somebody's burning some garbage over to the left over there. We're starting to get into a more populated area now on Highway 27. When we get to Rugby, we'll go down some of those streets in Rugby. None of them are paved. There may be one or two, but most of them aren't paved. But this time of the year, especially this year, we had so much rain that the foliage is thick, and it's difficult to see some of the homes located inside the wooded area of Rugby. But you'll get a pretty good view of Rugby as we drive around in that unique little community. And we'll turn right shortly on Highway 52 off of 27 South. And that'll be 52 West. I haven't been down through here very many times, but I've been to Rugby more than a few times, and I always came this way. We came over one Christmas, Pat and I, to Rugby, and that's a great time to come to Rugby. They have it decorated, and some of the shops have Christmas merchandise. I'll say again that when we were in Rugby, a Corvette club from Crossville came to Rugby. There's a restaurant there, and they all parked in front of the restaurant. But you'll see in the video, I looked up their website, and I'm going to send them a link. Some of the folks in that group, when they were standing around getting ready to go into the restaurant, I told them that I was doing a YouTube video, and this one guy told him that what the name, it would be under Nothing But History, and they may find these videos on their own, but I'm going to send them a link to the one from Rugby where I videoed their automobiles. Some beautiful Corvettes. This one guy had a copper-colored Corvette. I'll be talking about this again, but I'm just trying to come up with stuff to say. He said it was a 2016. I think I heard him say that was the only year they came out with that color. I'm not sure, but it's beautiful. I think the newer versions of the Corvettes are much prettier than some of the older ones, unless you go back to the Stingrays. And when I was in the Air Force in the 50s, I had a real good friend. In fact, my best friend had a 57 Corvette. And here we turn on Highway 52. I was going to check the street sign to make sure I had it correct. Highway 52. He had a 57 Corvette. It was, I wanted to say blue and white. It was more of an aqua color. We had a lot of fun with that automobile. We would take it to Daytona Beach. Back then, Daytona was not what it is today. In the 50s, he had spent 4 years in the military, and when he re-enlisted for Orlando specifically. And I believe he came in 57 or 58, and we didn't share a desk, but his desk sat right beside of my desk in the traffic management office, and we became close friends, and we ran around together until he joined Air Rescue, because Orlando at the time, I've probably told this story before, but Orlando at that time, the headquarters for Air Rescue was in Orlando, at Orlando Air Force Base. Orlando was part of the 1370th Photo Mapping Group, and that was the organization that I was in. And he was a part-time lifeguard at San Orlando Springs, and he had applied for air rescue, and I believe it was our commander, disapproved it because he was short-handed and didn't want to lose anyone. And one day my friend was working at San Orlando Springs as a lifeguard, and the commander of the air rescue group was there with his son, who was swimming, and he struck up a conversation with this commander. He didn't know that he was a commander, and then he asked, what do you do? And he said, well, I'm in the Air Force. And he said, well, I am too. He said, I'm the commander of air rescue. So my friend began to tell him how he had tried to get into the air rescue service. And so the commander took his name, and when I went to work, and he told me that he had met this commander, and he said, I'm almost positive they're going to take me into air rescue. And it was only a few days later they came and told him that he had been accepted to go to school. So he shipped out. And I'd say he probably retired from air rescue. So that's the way it goes. It's who you know. If you meet the right person, you can move up. This video is getting ready to end. This is video 2 of 8. The next video will be 3 of 8. As we continue on Highway 52 on our way to Rugby and Muddy Pond. We're going to stop at Rugby first. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.